question for you guys. What do theoretical physics and advertising have in common? With automation and artificial intelligence taking over more and more of our campaigns, powered by super complex algorithms, the answer is they have more in common than you might think. But the second answer to what theoretical physics and advertising have in common is Dr. Markus Düttmann. He holds a PhD in physics from the Technical University in Berlin, but he's had a focus and dedication in his career to applying mathematical models to marketing problems, from working in Zalando's data intelligence team, to co-founding the mobile programmatic platform Realzeit, to finally leading product and innovation at DCMN. He spends his time helping us figure out where technology is going to change the mechanisms of marketing, and building the tools that will hopefully help us get ahead of the curve. Today, he's going to give us a sneak peek about what he thinks this future will look like. Let's give him a big hand. Markus.
Hi. Seven, 8 years ago, I spent most of my days in Dahlem. I don't know if you know it. It's like a very quiet part of Berlin in the southwest. And I had an office there, beautiful, in a little villa. It was like looking out to a park. It was pretty amazing. And the best thing about this office was it was right next to a church where the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra was practicing. So in summertime, you know, chilling, listening to some of the best musicians in the world. It was like what I did. Back in the days, I used to work in a theoretical physics department. And most of my days looked like this, feet on the table. I stared at the ceiling. And, well, I was thinking about, like, big problems. How does order arise from chaos, and things like, how do complex things like life even exist? Well, after this, things have gone very fast. So I went into machine learning. I founded a startup. It was acquired. Now I'm driving product innovation at DCMN. I have the opportunity to stay, to talk here, to build great technology. But still, sometimes I wonder, does that even make sense? How does this all happen? And it is not only my career that has been changing, right? It's like the whole world of advertising is changing drastically if we think about it. September 20 years ago, Google opened its doors. They have put automation and AI on everything, and they've been a relentless agent of change. They've been pushing the thought and the things forward in a way that we couldn't have imagined. So, if in such a relatively short period of time, so many things can change, I'm wondering, how will our job look like in like 20 years? And this is the question I'm trying to answer today. But first, allow me to very briefly dive into the history of advertising a little bit, just so we understand how we got where we are now. Full disclaimer, I'm not a historian, right? So don't write anything down I'm going to say. But I spent a whole afternoon on Wikipedia researching this topic, and it goes way back to the ancient times. But I'm not here to talk about like some papyrus found in the Nile Delta. I just want to tell you what I consider one of the first moments of advertising. So, old Greece, we see a street vendor, Nikos, on a local market, and, well, he's there, rugged clothes, but he has a beautiful and loud voice, right? And he's yelling to get the attention of the fellow Athenians, to sell his products, right? Maybe a crop, maybe a weapon. Who knows? What he is, he's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur that tries to advertise his own business. And this is a story that actually happens millions and millions of times, and it still happens everywhere. From there on, of course, things have been changing, things have becoming more professional. We had a first printed ad in the 15th century. The London Times, they actually sold their first newspaper ads in the 18th century, what you can all learn on Wikipedia, guys. And this was the moment when money was being earned, right? This was the moment that was smoothly transitioning the whole, like an industry towards, let's call it the madman style of marketing capitalism, where like maybe in the skyscraper in New York you see well-dressed men, later women, sipping on their cognacs and having like big ideas. Ideas that everyone in the country would see on the billboards and jingles that maybe every kid would hum at some point. And this was kind of the peak, this was the high times of advertising. But obviously, as we know, although this is still attractive to a lot of us in the industry, times change. And they actually changed with this little fella. I don't know if you have seen that before. This is considered to be the first display ad ever. It's by AT&T, published on the website hotwire.com. And I have to admit, it is surprisingly high quality on this huge screen, because it's just a small banner. But it has a nice message. Let's appreciate the banner a little bit. Have you ever clicked your mouse right here? You will. It's tempting, right? The colors, they are nice. What you maybe do not see here is that in a slightly lighter gray, the call to action, you will, you will, you will, you will, is repeated in the background of this image. So it is pretty well designed. Some smart guy back in 1994 did that. And honestly, I would click on this banner. I want to know what happens. And so did 44% of everyone who saw this. Imagine this compares to less than 0.1% click rate that we have with today banners of this format. So it's amazing. And of course, some smart people, they again figured out that here is money to be earned. Companies sprung up, Yahoo, DoubleClick, and they figured out, well, I guess you put something on a website, it's automatizable. You don't have to copy-paste code all the way. They pushed automation forward. DoubleClick later got bought by Google. And they built now the technological basis for the whole display network and the DoubleClick Bid Manager and all that stuff that we are using. Google obviously has been pushing things forward, topping it over with artificial intelligence, and this is where we are. So display advertising is almost fully automatic. Now we come to what we actually want to discuss. Where do we go from here? What is going to happen? And I want to discuss this topic by making 3 predictions about how advertising may change. And you will see that none of these predictions is like crazy, unthinkable, unexpected. But all of these together, they will draw a very clear picture of where the industry is going. So let's start. 3 predictions. Prediction 1. All media will be traded automatically. So yes, we figured this out. Digital advertising, it's already happening. We had a panel just here before about programmatic TV. So TV channels, they are pushing forward. Radio advertising. Well, I got to know a guy from a company called Adremis. They are building infrastructure for radio advertising. And they also want to go into what they call programmatic radio, making radio trading automatic. Out of home, it's a thing. Ströer, trying to build an out-of-home ad exchange. In the US, it's completely commonplace. The ads change when the weather changes. Google, again, my favorite reference, just announced 3 months ago that they are doing a joint venture with the largest Chinese out-of-home provider. So it's becoming normal. Everything is automated. And the reason is very simple. Actually, I can put it in one word. efficiency. You don't have to wait until somebody's back from vacation, until the weekend is over to change your decisions. You can immediately do everything that you want. And actually, this very, very smoothly transitions into prediction number 2. AI will take over all operative tasks. And this actually is a bit more science fiction, but it's straightforward. That's a simpler one. If you trade things automatically, they have to appear in a structured format. If they're in a structured format, well, you can store them somewhere. If you can store them somewhere, you can put algorithms that generate insights. And I bet each and every one of us is using 1 or 2 tools that generate insights better than we would. And one specialized task after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, well, algorithms will take over. Prediction number 3. Technology will enable everyone to become a creative director. And here, some of you may be thinking, awesome, I always wanted to be a creative director. This is what I thought. And Ali, in case you're in the audience, it is very true that we have a lot of male creative director stock photos compared to women. It's sad, but that's how it is. All right, so I was a bit polemic here. Of course, I want to tell you what I mean with this. So every once in a while, you read one marketing blog or a magazine, let's say W&V or something like that. And here you'll find an article that sounds a bit like this. Creative agency XY hired its first AI as creative director. Or creative agency YZ uses machine learning to write a complete TV spot. And usually these magazines are accompanied by a video where some people are talking, maybe some cats, but they're talking gibberish. They're talking incoherent stuff. And I have to be honest here, I look at this, and this very, very clearly is a marketing stunt. This is not going to happen anytime soon. That is a complicated problem. And 20 years may be a bit too short for that. But let us remember that sometimes revolutions start with something as small as snap, right? Let's look for the snap. So maybe after this talk, you can go ahead and Google automatic video creation. You'll find a bunch of companies that do exactly that. They will create advertising videos just for you based on your social feed, your browsing history, whatever data these companies get their hands on. And this is not really far-fetched. Let me give you an example. My friend Daniel, he unfortunately moved to New York 2 years ago. I haven't seen him in half a year. But he's happy there. He has a new job. He has actually 2 girlfriends and a very cute dog. And we have been friends on Facebook for 11 years now. And somehow, Facebook found out. And they decided to celebrate our friendship. They created a personalized video celebrating our friendversary just for the 2 of us. It was very cheery, nice colors, a bit of music, and photos of Daniel and me having a beer, building a bench, random things you do, joined together. And there we have it, a personalized video for Daniel and me. Am I really sure that Daniel is seeing exactly the same video? I don't know. I don't think there's a question I can answer here. But definitely we're there, personalized videos. And yes, they're bad. They're not good. They're not impressive. But baby steps. Baby steps. We cannot underestimate innovation. In 20 years from now, this will be completely different. If we would see this now, our jaws would fall to the floor. So, very, very simple predictions. We see what's happened. Automation will help us. AI will take over operative tasks. And technology will enable everyone to become a creative director. Done. We know what happens. But in case you remember, I used to be a scientist. I just cannot give you like 3 predictions without validating them. It doesn't work for me. So let's do exactly this. Let's validate. If these 3 predictions are correct, then companies who excel at all of these 3 things will take over the market. It's pretty clear. So let's have a look. 25%. 25% actually is a number that causes a lot of sleepless nights to people in our industry. 25% is the total media advertising revenue share of Google and Facebook alone. I just added like this. Same information here, but it's growing, you know? And these guys, they are definitely extremely good in automation, in AI, and as we've just learned, they create videos for us. So, well, that's where we are. But don't get me wrong, I don't want the duopoly taking over everything. And to be honest, I also don't think they will. 20 years still is a long time. There may be other companies that sprung up, that appear. There may be something entirely unexpected happen. State regulation, the great advertising blockchain revolution. Nobody can say, but one thing is for sure. Every platform, every solution that wants to compete here with the big guys, they have to provide a very similar customer value. Because the customer value is there. Like Google and Facebook, they do one thing, they make it very easy to do marketing. They make it accessible to everyone. They enable you to grow and scale your business worldwide without much special knowledge, without a lot of manpower. Right? We are used to that. So we are expecting that from other solutions. So making marketing accessible to everyone, that's a good thing, right? It makes our job more important. Every company needs really like savvy people that know what is happening, because the competition, they have access to marketing, right? They otherwise will outsmart us. But all these random things that we may do on a daily basis, like setting up campaigns, configuring line items, generating creatives, doing some forecasts, doing some optimization thingies. And my favorite activity, combining weird reports from different sources into one. Those tasks that take 80% of our time on the operative side, they will be taken over by someone else. So, well, I mean, what does that mean? So very simple. We don't have to be like channel experts anymore. We don't have to know the details so much. We have to become marketing hustlers. We have to understand our business much, much better. So we have to figure out where the marginal costs of our marketing campaign give us the most value to reach our goals. So, let me summarize. Right? And the times, they are changing. It's my favorite song of Bob Dylan, and it's true. It has happened for my career. I'm very sure that it happened for yours, and change is happening in our industry. Our job will be different. It will be different. It will be less tedious, less operative, much more strategic. We will become more entrepreneurial. Instead of channel experts, we will become marketing hustlers, right? So let's prepare for this, right? Let's stop focusing on the details. Let's stop focusing on one thing. Let's become generalists. Let's not focus on how marketing works. Let's focus on learning how it is, why it works. Sorry. Thank you.